Hi, my name is Mikael Lindnord. I'm an adventure racer. My life is going to be portrayed by Mark Wahlberg in the new big movie coming out, Arthur the King. This movie is about me and especially my dog, Arthur, that I adopted during Adventure Racing World Championship in Ecuador 2014. And now we are here today in Los Angeles, in Beverly Hills. Yesterday, after we did the first kind of premiere screening, and today I'm talking to the adventure racing community and try to explain how I became where I am today and what you can do and how you will be a pro adventure racer.
We all know anything can happen out there. Sometimes we feel lost. We push and we suffer. We keep going. That makes all the difference. Hey, what happened to you, boy? You don't look so good. Meatball? Look, somebody likes my meatballs. Hey, Paw Patrol, we got a race to win.
Just remember, Michael, this race doesn't define you.
I raced for 19 years. This is my last chance to win.
3, 2, 1.
I was a young boy living in the city. All I did was run, 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 run.
Over the next 10 days, these athletes will cross 400 miles climbing, biking, and kayaking.
That dot is Daddy.
Go, Daddy, Dot.
Let's talk and get the meatballs too. 3 days, 200 miles ago. Leave the stupid dog and let's go. Come on. Move, dumb dog. What is it, boy? Oh.
Oh,
Can't believe I almost walked right off that cliff. Extra meatballs for you, my friend. He's hurting. What do you think he went through before he met us?
God. Whatever it wasn't good.
How the hell did he get all the way from here to there while we were on bikes and zip lines and running and climbing?
He must have wings we don't know about.
Boy, you know I'm back like I never left. You want to start to embrace the buckets of pain?
I need a bigger bucket.
Team Broad Rail has traveled over 200 miles and they found a companion.
Daddy has a dog?
What have you done?
Think you found your new partner in suffering, Michael?
Yeah.
He's the king. I think we should call him Arthur. Arthur the King.
How's he doing?
He's been through so much. This dog needs a vet. I don't want you to hurt anymore. No. He's a fighter.
Just like you.
I feel glorious.
Famous dog. Looks even worse than the rest of you. Maybe you all deserve each other. Always underestimated armor, buddy. This isn't the route on the map.
It's okay. Just follow Arthur.
Lead the way, King.
I've never seen anything like this.
Everybody knows about it. Guess what? I'm not a dog person.
We arrived into Ecuador the last of October 2014. We trained for months and years to this opportunity to become the world champions. We had a really, really good team. We spent 2 weeks on high altitude training. We did all the preparation that we thought needed it to give this a chance. I raced for almost 19 years now, and this was my opportunity. We were ranked number 6 in the world, so we had a fair chance. And you always dream about this perfect opportunity, the perfect life, but it doesn't really happen. And unfortunately, it wasn't that the perfect race for us either. I think we did the first navigation mistakes after like 1 or 2 hours into the race. We lost a little bit of momentum, but we didn't really give up. And I think that's kind of the spirit of adventure racing. You never give up. You do mistakes, but you need to jump back on. So I think we did that pretty good. And we were biking and pushing through the muds and into the Amazonas, back to over the Andes. And we've been racing for almost 4 days now and slept very, very little. And we were pushing our bikes up to this hill and we were so tired, but we still was like, oh, we need to like push the last bit of this race. And then we came into this transition area, this small village, and just before us, Team Techno, the American team, just went out like in 4th place. And we were like, okay, wow, we still have a chance on the podium here. So let's do a push this last 2 days of the race. So we came into this transition area. I was actually super pumped. On this race, we had this 2 hours mandatory stop. So we had 2 hours. We put our watch on that, and I remember I was just squeezing and pushing my bike into the bike box just to spare even more time. And I took off this special food we have from Sweden. It's like meatballs, and so I put the membrane to that, put some water, and then it's get really hot. So when you're in adventure racing, you get this. It's easy like in the fine dining in restaurants. So I was eating those meatballs, and same time I was eating these meatballs, it felt like someone was looking at me, and I couldn't really. And then I looked on my left side, and then I saw this dog just staring at me 2-3 meters away from me, and I was like, whoa, don't come close to me, because I was in the middle of the race, of course, and he looked really bad, like he was bleeding, he smelled bad, and I was like, don't come close, because I don't want to have any disease. I'm in the middle of this adventure race, World Championship, and we want to perform. But then he just stood there, so I was like, no one can never be nice to this fellow. So I gave him some meatballs to him. I maybe gave him like 10 seconds of attention, and then we just pull our gear together, the laughing, bike boxes away, and then we run away, because the other Swedish team was just kind of like 9-10 minutes before us, so we want to really want to catch them. So we run away from this village, and then it gets dark, and we catch the other Swedish team, and we put on our headlamps, and well, let's see it back, because I want to see if there's any other team is joining in the back. I didn't see any team, but I see a dog. But I don't really understand that it was the same dog. So we continued, the other Swedish team is stopping. We continued a bit more, and then some of us have to change batteries in the headlamp, fix the socks, and then this dog came by, and this was the same dog I gave the meatballs. So that was the kind of the first, like, okay, I'm going there. And we knew that this was a huge tough stage of this race, because we're gonna travel through the jungle in like deep mud and everything, and they like warned for this stage before the race, like this was one of the gnarliest stages that ever been done. So we were like, okay, and I remember I said to the dog at that moment, that later became Arthur, like, are you really sure that you want to join us, like, because we're gonna through this jungle? And he never like, no, I'm going. And I remember on this stage, naturally, in adventure racing, you only have the map and the compass. But because of this stage through the jungle, it was no maps, there was nothing. So in this stage, we could have a GPS. We're not used to having GPS. So of course we did mistakes. We did too much zooming in and zooming out, and we were lost in the jungle. And we tried to just bush tracking through the jungle. That's the rule number 1 in adventure racing. You don't do bush tracking in the jungle. But we did that. And then we just come to a corner, and I felt like through the jungle like that, and then suddenly it was like I felt fresh air like that, and I couldn't see anything, because everything it's pitch black in the jungle. And so when I just looked there, and Arthur now and the team, my members we are here, and he just stands there, and we can't see anything. And then we look down, and then we can see the treetops. So we're actually on the edge of this cliff in the jungle, and then we just woof. And there was a fresh air, because we are so high up. So we had to turn back and go around, and finally we were back on track, and then the sun came up, and the jungle woke up to life again. And I said to the team, we need to sit down here and just take a moment, like. So we sit down, and I asked the other, like, I asked Simon, do you have anything more to eat? I have 1 bar left or something like that. And he said, yeah, I have those. So I have those. So on his backpack, he took these 2 bags of meatballs. And I was like, wow, are you kidding me? Are you carrying that all the way? And he said, yes. So I took a bite, and I gave Simon took a bite. But then Karen and Staffan, they were on the other side of this small creek. They didn't want anything. Because behind me now was Arthur, our dog. And he kind of became the 5th team member for us. So without even like kind of talk about it, it became like he's the one that should have the food. So we took I took all these meatballs for these 2 packages on this jungle leaf, and I gave him, and he ate everything. And yeah, we continue. I think it was the spirit of adventure racing. You know, you're a team player, and even if it's short time that we had together with Arthur, we felt like he's the one that should have the food, and and because of that, we almost didn't make it. We almost didn't make it to the next transition area, and one of my team members, he was so bad dehydrated, so we had to have medical attention, and we have to take IV. We have a 4-hour penalty for that, and then the tide was coming in, so we had to wait 3 more hours. So we spent there almost 7 hours, and then we just we're doing this last paddling. And then the volunteers, the staff members of this transition area, they told me like because they saw Arthur was with us at his moment. They said you can't bring the dog. It's too dangerous. If you're paddling to mangroves, the tides and everything. And to be honest, I understand all that. I understand that you can't bring a dog in adventure race or a competition, whatever competition, if it's not a competition that are including dogs, of course. So I understand all that. So we put our kayaks into the river, and Karen and Staffan, they start paddling, and me and Simon was back on track. So we sit down, and I remember like kind of saying goodbye to Arthur at the shore, and we just push away and we start paddling. And I don't know, 20, 30, 50 meters, I don't really remember, but I was just paddling, and then I just heard splash. And I turned my head, and I saw Artie was jumping into the water afterwards, and he was trying to swim afterwards, and I was like, I said to Simon, oh, stop, we can't do this. So we stopped the kayak, and Artie came along, and I grabbed him and put it in my lap in my kayak, and this was kind of the really first time I did an active decision to do something that really helps him along. Otherwise, he just came along. We never kind of force him or drag him or do anything. So the choice was always Arthur's. So we took him in my lap, and we start paddling, and it's a pretty big dog, so it was not so easy. And I remember he get cold, so I took my jacket out from my backpack, and I put the jacket on, and he was sleeping there. And then he woke up and jumped into the water because he was searching for some fishes or something. So we had to stop, take him up again, and then we continued like that. And then it was maybe 20, 40 k's left to the transition area, the last drop off of the kayak. And we were paddling, and then Arthur just come up like this with his head, and then he jumped in the water because we were passing this village. So he jumped into the water and ran into the village, and I was like, okay, maybe this is where he was supposed to go. So we just continued paddling. This village was pretty long besides the river, so we were maybe paddling for 20 minutes, half an hour or something like that. And I was like looking on my shoulder to see him, and I was like, okay, yeah, maybe this was his final destination. So I just continue, and And then we kind of on the edge of this village. And then I saw Arthur that's running like full speed, jump in the water, and then like swimming like this, and okay, like you can take me up again now. Oh my god! So I took him up in the kayak again, and we paddled the last hours into the drop zone, and then we walked the last bit to the finish line. And this was actually where the real adventure started, because obviously we want him to take him to the vet to get his sore back together, and he was really bad with fleas, and he was not good. So we took him to vet station in Quito to get everything together, and the first plan was to take him back to where he come from. But he was so damaged and stuff, so I felt like, no, we can't bring him back. And then some local team said, you should adopt him. And I was like, wow, adopt? Can you do that? So then I called agriculture in Sweden, in Ecuador, and said, yeah, it's possible if you do this and this. And I just heard like, okay, this is possible. So then we kind of pushed for 4 days to get all the paperwork together and everything. It was a huge hustle. I've never been this tired in my whole life. First racing 6 days, slept one night, and then 4 more days just to do everything. And so we got actually the last paperwork 20 minutes before we check in for the airplane back to Sweden. So I felt like, is this really happening? It was like living in the movie, because we were fighting, but then when we kind of were on the edge of giving up, it went through. And that's what's with Arthur's life all the time. It's like you kind of lose hope, and then it just pushes the last bit, the last bit again. So, and when I flew home to Sweden, when we landed in Stockholm, Sweden, and we met all this media and everything, it's like, okay, then I finally kind of realized that what have I really done? And with my team, of course, what have we done? So it's more like, okay, what should we do now? And so from that point, of course, we have to be in quarantine and have the full medic attention. Like it took like almost 3 months to heal the back on Arthur, and we took him out after the quarantine, and then we did the last surgery of his mouth, and then we came back to our house in Örnsköldsvik in the high coast, north part of Sweden. And I remember I was so nervous, like, how does he react? Can we have a dog? I never had a dog before, so I was super nervous, of course. And then first time we just came in, and we just opened all the doors and everything. Yes, okay, Arthur, feel home. And I remember you ran over smelling, and then we bought like a dog mattress that we have in the middle kind of the house. And yes, after he smelled the house, he just lay down there, and he slept the whole night. And it was like he's never lived anywhere else, and that's huge, strange. And we kind of actually from the start, but the bonding we have, me and Arthur, and with the family was extreme. We kind of were the same person, and we never saw Arthur as a pup or a dog. We saw him more like a family member, and he have like, or we had a fantastic life together. We spent so much time on adventures that he loved that the most. It doesn't matter if it was snow, ice cold, summer, or whatever. He just loved to do stuff with the family, and we had 6 fantastic years together. The inspiration, because I wrote the book about Arthur, is that I think people needs to hear his story, and I think also like Arthur is a symbol for hope, and I think that story needs to be told, because there's lots of other artists out there that maybe need a new home or a family. And I would say to everyone that don't be so fast to judge, because you can have the author just around the corner. Why adventure racing? People ask me. For me, it's not like, when I grew up, I never had like talent in sport. Of course, I played hockey like we did everyone in Sweden. I did orienteering, played some soccer, and I've always been very interested in sport, but I haven't really found my passion, sort of. And so I did my military service as a Arctic Ranger, like Green Berets, or what you could call it here in the US. 96, and that was the first kind of step into the world of like endurance, kind of, because that military service was a lot of like transport, sleep outside, little sleep, and you did as a group. And I felt like when I did that, it felt like I was coming home, and I find kind of my talent. And my talent is never give up. Like most of the adventure racers have this talent, or actually you need to have this talent. You need to have that whatever it takes mentality. And I kind of find that when I was like 19 years old, and that kind of changed my life. I went from this normal guy that really didn't make it to the team, wasn't really a good athlete, and then I tried my first race. It was Or Extreme Challenge 97, and I was hooked from the start, from the get-go. I was like, wow, is this happening? And I think I finished way back in the field, maybe one of the last teams finished this to make the finish line, but I just felt this is it. And yes, I think 2 years later than that, I started to this expedition kind of race, with like the 4 days race in Sweden, and we were not winning. I was not good at the start, but I really love the sport, because I really love this hardship, kind of, because you need to be a very good friend. You need to have all the skills in the team. You need to have navigators. You need to have a mixed team, because you need to have both females and male in the team, and that mixture, and that's combination of what adventure racing is all about, is the thing that I fell in love with and spent almost 20 years, 2 decades of my life. And adventure racing for me is not just a sport. It's a way of living. You know, the sport have taken me almost like 60 countries around the world, racing, discover. And the best part of the adventure racing, when you come to a new country, you're not racing on the beaches or where the tourist goes. You go in the wilderness that very few people have ever walked before. I think that's the thing I love the most. And meet the people, like the real people in the country. Just having 1, 2, 3 houses in the jungle or in the desert or whatever, and you kind of share with them, or they help you with some water, and I think adventure racing for me have given me hope of humanity. Even if you see the news today, you see that it's like war and stuff like that, but adventure racing is pure. It's up to you with your team members to navigate through this course to the finish line, and you need to figure out the way. And when you have obstacles, you have problems, when you have things that happen that are not supposed to happen, when the bike breaks down and stuff like that, you need to figure that out. And that's part of adventuring I love, and I love it so much. So actually, I spend like 20 years of this, and I was organizing a lot of adventure racing World Series. I also organized it together with Helena, my wife, Adventure Racing World Championship 2006 in Sweden and Norway. And I also took the big step to being a professional adventure racer the last almost 6-7 years of my career, when I was just give everything for winning. And I never regret anything. I spend all my money, all my effort, all my energy, all my thoughts into adventure racing, and I love every second of it. And I think this with this move Arthur the King, a lot of people will try adventure racing. Adventure racing is not for everyone, but if you dare to try it and give it a chance, a lot of you guys are gonna love it, and you're gonna stay for a very, very long time. So organizing Adventure Racing World Series or Adventure Racing World Championship is a huge effort from the organization of the event. And you actually start years before you put up the race. You're scouting, you find sponsorships, you get all the partners together, all the media together, and you also like you try to find that perfect course. Like, I want to go here in this terrain, and you do a lot of scouting. I remember we did a lot of helicopters, by foot, by bike, by car, to find that perfect location for the big adventures. And I think that's the most fun of it, because you do it, and then you are kind of standing at the finish line, and you kind of want to meet the racers when they come to the finish line, and you want to talk to them like, okay, what do you thought about the course, and you're so nervous because you want them to say this was the best ever. I had the opportunity actually to pull off some of the races that people really liked, and that was a great honor, of course. Adventure Racing World Series and the World Championship is the platform for adventure racing. It's you're taking the best endurance athletes in the world. They come together once every year in the World Championship. Through the years, you have Adventure Racing World Series all around the world that you qualify to Adventure Racing World Championship. Adventure Racing World Championship is the purest event because it's only once a year. All the best teams are there. Everyone is pushing the limits. Everyone have done everything in their power to be as good as it gets. I was so happy when I heard that the Adventure Racing World Championship are coming back to Ecuador 10 years after I met Arthur, and it feels amazing. And I will go there together with my family, with my kids, because I want them to discover Ecuador once again. To making Arthur the King has been a 7-year journey that took the book about Arthur and make it to the big screen, and to be here today, just a couple of weeks before the big premiere, is it's fantastic. And it's not fantastic for me, and obviously we have big actors, but also like it's fantastic of the situation that it showcased Adventure Racing World Series and World Championship in a really accurate way, I would say. And also the most important in this movie too is that Arthur the King is about the dog that was beaten, that no one wanted, and he come along, and it is get this love story actually that you will see on the big screen. So that's Arthur the King is an emotional roller coaster. You will have big highs and big lows, and it ends fantastic. So, some of the stunts in Arthur the King are so cool and so up to like what we do in adventure racing. To work with the actors like Mark Wahlberg with this movie is portraying me. It's been a blessing to work with like professional, really high, the highest quality of the cast have been amazing. We've done so many cool stuff together. Like I was coming to DR where the movie was recorded, and we worked for almost a month to train and do the padding right, to run proper, to use the backpacks and the bottles, and you will see that as adventure racer how the bottles in the backpack goes, do the biking and everything. So it was tough. And we shoot day and night. It was raining, it was cold, it was misery, and this to shoot a movie like this is almost 700 people involved to get the gear together, and it kind of like building a big house every time you do put up a set or a scene. So it's like it was fantastic. It was a fantastic experience. The thing that I felt before I came there was because Artie has passed away weeks before we start shooting, and I felt like, oh, am I going to do this? But then I thought like, okay, this is Artie wanted me to quit, to give up. So I thought that let's do this love letter to Artie, and I'm very proud of that. To work with those actors like Mark Wahlberg and CMO and Ali, like Oscar-nominated actors, and Juliette Rylance or Natalie Emmanuel for Games of Thrones, or Fast and Furious, and CMO from Barbie, and all those big movies. It was a very humble experience. They are so good people, and the effort they put into this movie is beyond belief. They are fantastic, and the effort, and never like complaining. They will have the adventure racing world championship mindset, all of them. So I think that will really go through in the screen, and also all the scenes like Arthur scenes with Yukai. They look like twins. It looks fantastic. When I saw the movie yesterday on the big screen with my family, it was the first time my kids saw it, and they like, it was so emotional, and we were having a fantastic time. But it's also like, it was like looking at my life and look at Arthur again one more time, and yeah, it's this. I think a lot of people will love this movie. So come and see it, and you can see it on cinemas, in theaters, and here in the US it's open the 15th of March. So have your life into this book. It was fantastic, and now the movie tie-in books is coming out with Arthur the King poster with Mark and Mikael on the backside, and it feels fantastic. I'm very proud of this book, and I definitely think you should read it. It's super high ranked on Amazon, and it's the base of Arthur the King, and especially for everyone that loves Ecuador, the whole truth is in this book. We coming from Sweden, racing in Ecuador. Arthur is from Ecuador.